And now we come to step 4 of building out your model. We've already taken a look at the first few steps. That is, number 1, you've got to know your numbers, right? You got to be measuring the right metrics. Secondly, you've got to define the user journey, including both conversions of steps and goals. Thirdly, know the conversion rates, just mathematics, which hopefully you've started to measure and analyze in the homework module previous to this video. And fourthly, we finally come to building out your model. That is, now we can knowledgeably put together all that we have looked at into historical models. Again, I feel it's important to say if you're not building historical models for each channel and campaign type, then you're going to simply be guessing at what marketing activity will work for your future campaigns. In fact, to underscore the need for building models, let me show you a few typical hypotheses in the marketing world today. Do you happen to see a common thread here? In many teams that I've worked with, the common answer to how to fix marketing deficiencies is more. We need more of everything. More blogs, more monthly webinars, more daily social posts. If we post once a day, we should post twice a day. How about a larger lead database so we can pummel consumers with more of our emails? We have 100,000 leads in our database. We need 200,000 leads. How about an ebook? I mean, do you know how much time and effort goes into an ebook? 6 weeks, 2 people, a copywriter, designer, maybe even the CMO, well, actually probably the CMO with his hands all over it, maybe a director or 2, and it'll probably cost you about $50,000 once all is said and done. You get the idea. The hypothesis in too many marketing departments today is very simple but common. We need more. However, what if we develop models, a plan, campaigns, scenarios based on research and experience that will actually move the needle? Let's start with a basic model example. Now, in building out these models, I'm going to use the traditional sales and marketing funnel simply because it's easier to diagram. Now, in this example before you, this is what we know. The historical conversion rates, we know the annual contract value of $2,500, target payback period is 12 months, again, we're keeping it simple, and percentage of demos from a specific channel. These are historical numbers. This is something that you should be able to gather. Now, in this case, assume we're referring to organic traffic. This will obviously work with most channels. Now that we have these numbers, we are able to answer 2 very important questions. Number 1, how many visitors do we need? In this example, it is visitors, but you can build backwards to any number, whether it's demos, leads, subscriptions, or emails in your lead database. Again, this can be done for any channel individually based on historical numbers. Second question, what are we willing to pay for each visitor? Now that we have this information, these historical numbers, let's plug it into a basic model. Let's start with the targets. Most companies have targets or goals for a quarter a year, right? The purpose of building a model is to more accurately predict how to achieve your goals or your targets based on your current numbers and conversion rates. Therefore, we start with the target or the goal and move backwards. In other words, we're going to be building a reverse funnel. Now, if our goal is 30 paying subscribers, then based on historical conversion rates, we would need, if you track it all the way back, 7,500 organic search visitors, again, based upon the conversion rates historically. Now, if the annual contract value is $2,500, then if you track that all the way back to organic traffic, we would be willing to pay $1 per organic visitor. Again, this is based upon historical conversion rates. Now, since organic is not something you pay for, you could relate this to how many visitors did a blog post bring compared to how much it cost to produce that blog post. Now, again, this is very crude math, but bear with me for now. If you spend $150 on a blog post and it brought in 300 web visitors in the last 12 months, then the assumption is that it paid off. This is also assuming there were no other benefits to having a blog article and that visitors is the only measure of a blog post value. Neither are true, but you can see how this starts to bring value when you build models for other channels like paid or social or partnership, channels that you are actually spending a defined dollar amount on. Now again, this is just the starting point. So as a side note, numbers do fluctuate for seasonality. So it is best to measure 12 months of numbers as your baseline And then compare the seasonality to a specific quarter or month that you'll be running your marketing campaigns. Let me start this section by asking a question. Why is it important to know the value of a visitor or lead from a specific channel? Well, when you know what the value of a lead is, you can determine how many leads you need each month to sustain your business and how much you should be paying for things like advertising or visitors per channel, leads from partnerships, or email sent. Right? This is true whether you are using pay-per-click or really any channel for that matter, especially when you segment the value of a lead by channel. And so this formula that you see here really works. Conversions needed equals desired revenue divided by lead value. Let's simply really quickly look at another example. Now in this example, let's say you need to generate $15,000 of new revenue per month to float your business. Now if each sale of $2,000 actually costs you $1,000 to deliver, the profit on each sale is really $1,000. If 2 out of every 10 leads actually converted into a sale, then we could say the conversion rate is 20%, right? 2 sales divided by 10 leads. To back that up, then each lead is actually worth $200. Therefore, the conclusion is, if our goal is $15,000 per month, then we would need 75 leads. Now, it's worth noting most orgs will use a very simplistic example using revenue generated. A more accurate option would be to use the profit generated by sales as seen here and not just the revenue. But many businesses have difficulty defining this number, so just use revenue as a guide. Even if you use revenue instead of actual profit, as long as you are constantly tracking these metrics, you will be able to make much more informed decisions than going off your gut. Now, hopefully you can start to see the importance of taking a more scientific approach to understanding your sales funnel. It can help you determine things like the number of leads you need to get each month to float or improve your business. Or how about how much you can safely spend on advertising without throwing your money away? Or what you can hope to expect in return based upon historical numbers. Now, if someone asks you how you are going to achieve your goals, you can actually answer with a bit more confidence and clarity, especially when you start to build out models for your different channels. So let's look at a quick example. Here's an example that shows high level the average lead value per channel. And we can see using basic analytics the number of leads, sales, the resulting conversion rate, and ultimately the lead value. Now in this example, the question is, which one is better? Which one will help me reach my marketing and business goals? Now before we dive into these and many more questions, a couple things to note first. In the business world, things aren't always so simple. Not all sales are going to be equal. Some sales will be a home run and others won't, right? Also, secondly, the conversion rates are going to be different depending on the traffic source. You may find that leads generated by paid search convert better because you've been hyper-focused on your advertising or using keywords with extremely high commercial intent or targeting customers that are very local to you. Lots of different reasons why there will be different conversion rates. This chart, again, and really the point I want you to see, is that the value of a lead may be different depending on the lead source. From this, you can see that a lead generated from your paid search campaign is worth more to you than a lead generated from organic search. Again, as a side note, if you have Google Analytics installed on your site, and you should, you can determine the average lead value and enter this into your analytics goal. Then Google Analytics will do most of the hard work for you. However, if you just stuff the average revenue value into the goal value, you'll see highly inflated numbers that won't make sense, as not every lead generated from the website will actually result in a sale. Just a side note about Google Analytics. But the point is this: using a realistic lead value as your goal will give you a clearer insight into how your website is performing compared to other channels. And that's the benefit of building out these historical models. Because without the historical models, you can't build out future scenarios and determine ROI. And that's what we're going to be looking at next. Now we come to the fun part. On the 4th tab of Session 1 homework, you will see Build the Model. Now, some of this should be familiar to you based upon the 3rd tab, where you actually built the top part of the funnel. In this Build the Model, you're actually going to carry it all the way through the funnel, both the sales and marketing funnel. And so this example is a B2B organic. I just simply filled out some of this information here, where they visited the website, requested a demo, and filled out request a demo form. This should be familiar from tab number 3 called funnel. But then we continued on down to all the way to paying subscribers. And again, the conversion rates pop up. Now, the reason this is so beneficial is we now begin to answer these two questions. And really, we're jumping ahead of ourselves because this is the final stage of building out your model, and that's really building future scenarios. And so you'll see more of this in the coming videos. But the idea is that if you have these historical values and these historical conversion rates, then you can start to answer these questions. How many do we need? How many of each of these do we need? And what are we willing to pay for each? Now, obviously, I just put in some random numbers here. But let's say you said, I need 15 new subscribers. So we put in 15. Yeah, all the numbers change based upon these conversion rates here. And now you can see as you work back up through the historical conversion rates, you're going to need 37,500 website visitors in order to get 15 paying subscribers. You'll also see here, based upon the lifetime value, or how much each subscriber is worth, how much you're willing to pay at the very max, right? This is at the very max, how much you're willing to pay for a website visit. Now, this doesn't obviously mean very much for the organic channel, but you can see how this is going to play an important role when you're talking about pay-per-click or social, or you're paying for ads on a partner website. Just again, put in all the historical values, and now you can start building your scenarios. So have fun with this. Again, you can copy and paste this whole section and just start building out as many models as you want. Again, these two columns will be covered in future videos in this session, so it will help you understand these numbers a little bit better. But the idea is now you can start building out scenarios, so you take out the guesswork for future marketing campaigns. Again, these numbers aren't perfect, but it's going to be a lot better than just going off your gut or just kind of winging it. So have fun with this, enjoy it, and let me know if you have any questions.